So, before I get started, what? I'm doing. They said something about the fairy tales that we used to watch. They fake or something like that. It's a different story to them. So I want to say that. But first, I want y'all to hear this song. It's that Jeffrey Epstein shit about touching kids and shit. You can't even hear that shit. Hold on. I got you. Hold on. Uh, I got you.
I wanted to grow up someone, a doctor, a hero, brave and strong, a firefighter chasing sirens, an astronaut dreaming all night long. They showed me pictures of a better life, so this trip would change my days. I packed my dreams in a small suitcase and twisted all their ways. I thought it was a doorway out, a step into a brighter place. I didn't know that hope can lie and wear a human face. I was promised a prince to see, a party night and shining scenes, games and fun, a night to keep, a night I never leave.
That motherfucker said a prince to see. Ain't the prince in the Epstein files? Lock in, baby. Lock in. Pizza, that's kids. Something like that.
There and it's possible, so gentle smiles, they spoke so soft, they called me lucky, said I'd stay with them a while. They locked the doors and took my name, told me when to stand and breathe. They fixed my smile so I wouldn't bite, made me soft, made me easy inside. Say stay still, this is how it goes. Talk my body while my mouth can't say. Bright rooms, cameras watching eyes. Be grateful, boy, don't cry. Every night inside that place, I felt myself undressed.
You serious? Pizza stand for cheese pizza stand for child porn. Nigga, what? Pizza meant cheese pizza meant child porn. Pizza meant children or young girl. Pasta or hot dog was codes for trafficking. What the fuck? That is crazy. And it's just out here. They've been talking about it online.
Scream, my voice was gone. The walls were thick and wide. They called it fun. They called it business. I called it losing life. I was promised a prince to see, a party night and shiny scenes, games of fun, a night to keep, a night I'd never leave. They promised pizza, promised love, but that night I didn't eat a bite. I wasn't eating the pizza, mama. That night the pizza.
That's wild. That's wild. There's some other shit I heard about. I mean, that's wild as hell.
150 the same day I request it? Download Grand Cash Advance from the App Store today.
Got a car accident, don't call a lawyer, use this free AI tool instead. That's how I walked away with $93,000 from what they called a minor crash. Okay, so a few months ago, I got rear-ended.
Plagues, murder, human sacrifice. This is hardly the stuff of children's literature, or is it? Once you hear the dark messages behind nursery rhymes that you thought you knew, you'll have to agree that Mother Goose has earned her place alongside the world's greatest horror writers, like Edgar Allan Poe, Bram Stoker, and Stephen King. Nursery rhymes have seemed harmless or downright cute to us today, but when you learn about the dark history behind some of the most famous and enduring nursery rhymes, they sound less like adorable children's songs and more like gruesome horror stories. From evil monarchs to public executions, deadly plagues to brutal murders, nursery rhymes are more than just background music for fun children's games. They're a living record of some of the darkest moments in history. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. This catchy nursery rhyme from 1881 brings to mind images of adorable children holding hands, singing and dancing in a circle until they all fall down. It may seem like a harmless game, but this fun children's song actually has a very dark story behind it. The memorable rhyme is actually about the Great Plague that hit London in 1665 and killed up to 15% of the entire population of the city. The rosy refers to the painful and highly visible rash that was the hallmark symptom of the plague. Death and disease were
So we just be singing about murdering each other and all type of shit, like when we was kids. Like, that's crazy how they poison us to not know no better. We just ashes, ashes, they all fall. That niggas is dead, cuz. What is you talking about?
in the crowded cities that citizens took to filling their pocket with sweet-smelling flowers like posies to cover up the stench of death that was everywhere. And the mention of ashes is a reference to the thousands of bodies of plague victims that were unceremoniously burned in an attempt to prevent the spread of the disease and to clear the city of the piles of bodies of victims.
Shut your door.
There's definitely more to this children's
Shut
song
the door.
game than it first appears. The often brutal reality of life
King John, get out.
has inspired more than one dark poem, and it's not just plagues that provided dark fodder for nursery rhymes. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Don't let the catchy tune of this classic nursery rhyme fool you. There's an incredibly dark history behind London Bridge's sweet melody. The rhyme was
London Bridge? Like, damn!
was allegedly written about a Viking attack on London in the early 1000s. According to a legend, the group of Vikings under King Olaf II of Norway stormed the city and destroyed the iconic bridge, but there is much debate among scholars over whether this attack ever actually happened. Even if the story of a violent Viking attack turns out to be nothing but legend, there's more darkness behind London Bridge that might be even more brutal than a Viking invasion. The real dark message behind London Bridge nursery rhyme is actually one of human sacrifice. At the time of the bridge's construction, it was widely believed that burying bodies in the foundation of buildings was a surefire way to keep the structure standing. The bodies were thought to add strength to the structure, and the spirits of the dead would also watch over the bridge in death. Even worse,
Who be
the
coming up with
sacrificed
this
people,
shit?
many of them children, were rumored to have been immured in the walls, meaning they were entombed within the foundations while they were alive, and slowly died from lack of food and water after the walls had been bricked up. This brings a whole new level of darkness.
Pause,
to
pause.
children's
This nigga
games
said
that
bricked
often
up.
accompanies
This nigga said bricked up. Derek, pause that,
But
Ted.
finding a better
That's
rewards
true.
credit card takes no time at all. Quickly browse.
rhyme. Two children will form an arch with their arms to represent the bridge, while others will take their turn walking under the bridge. When the song ends, the bridge falls and the children will drop their arms. The last person to walk under the bridge finds himself trapped within the walls, just like
Oh,
the human
shit.
sacrifices
What are you
of legend.
watching?
Human sacrifice is certainly
I'll show you
dark,
later.
but one family had so much darkness in their history that they inspired multiple dark nursery rhymes. Mary married quite contrary. How does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. This sweet and harmless sounding rhyme from 1744 is actually all about a very dark subject. Mary, the First of England, also known in history as Bloody Mary. She was the first woman to rule England in her own right. And though her reign was short, it was brutal and bloody. Mary's father, King Henry VIII, had split with the Catholic Church over the church's refusal to grant him a divorce from Mary's mother, Catherine, the first of his eventual 6 wives. A staunch Catholic herself, when Mary took the throne, she set about reversing her father's religious reforms and exacting her revenge for this horrific treatment of her mother. During her short reign, Mary made it illegal to practice a different religion than the monarch, and brutally tortured anyone who refused to convert to Catholicism. Under Mary's rule, hundreds of heretics were burned alive at the stake for their religious beliefs. The silver bells and cockle shells in the rhyme might sound like beautiful flowers or harmless gardening instruments, but in reality, they were actually medieval torture devices rumored to have been used on heretics under Mary's orders. Bloody Mary's reign was so brutal that it inspired more than one dark nursery rhyme, including this one from 1805. 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did you ever see such a thing in your life?
I ain't never heard this.
Blind
Y'all
mice.
heard of this one?
The 3 blind mice in the rhyme were thought to be 3
I heard of 3 blind mice, though.
bishops, Hugh Latimer, Nicholas Radley, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Cranmer. These formerly powerful men not only refused to convert to Catholicism under Mary's brutal rule, but they also actively plotted to overthrow her. The plot was discovered, and the 3 religious men were charged with treason and burned alive at the stake. Their executions were some of the most high-profile of the many, many brutal executions doled out during Mary's reign. For years after their killings, rumors swirled that Mary had also had the men dismembered and blinded before death. And though that was later proven to be false, the legend stuck, and the men would forever be known as the 3 blind mice. If you thought Mary was bad, you only have to look at her family tree to see where she got it from. Another popular nursery rhyme from 1805 was based on the dark deeds of Mary's own father. Old Mother Hubbard went to her cupboard to get her poor dog.
All I'm hearing is Mary's bad name.
The cupboard was bare, so the poor little dog.
You got the Bloody Mary, the Virgin Mary. Yeah, you tripping.
But it's actually
Mary's lying.
The terrible wrath of King Henry VIII. Apparently, Old Mother Hubbard wasn't a woman at all. The character was actually a mockery of Cardinal Thomas, the Catholic priest who refused to help his first wife, Mary's mother, so he could marry his mistress and Boleyn. Wolsey's refusal to help Henry get the knowledge he so desperately wanted led to Wolsey's political downfall and Henry's eventual split from Catholic Church, forever changing religious life in England and around the world. The story is especially dark when you realize that Henry went to all this trouble only to have his marriage to Anne last for a mere 3 years before he had her beheaded for treason, so he could marry the 3rd of his 6 wives. Mary's brutal persecution of heretics is legendary, but here too she took a page out of her father's books. This 1784 rhyme paints a disturbing picture of how Catholics were treated under her father, King Henry. There's no denying that Mary certainly learned a thing or two from him in her later persecution of Protestants. Goosey, goosey, gander, whither dost thou wander? Upstairs and downstairs and in my lady's chamber. There I met an old man who wouldn't say his prayers.
Alright, this getting out of the way. Like, they was talking about shit going on.
Henry's rape.
That's going way up. I hate ads.
Some of our favorite childhood cartoons have backstories that are totally inappropriate for kids. And in this video, we're going to uncover them. These are cartoon characters with disturbing backstories. We'll start with the lighter cases and work our way to the most shocking. So my goal this year, guys, is to increase our uploads without sacrificing quality, but I'm not going to lie, it's harder than I imagined, but I'm not going to give up. So something that would help me a ton is if you guys could subscribe, and I promise to do my very best to make the best videos I can for you guys.
Like and subscribe, guys.
Are awesome.
I'm gonna make my shit so you can't comment unless you
The world
subscribe.
calls Peter Pan a hero.
It's free.
But is he really? In the original story, he ends innocent people. Most people think he's a good guy because of the way
I knew
he's
Peter Pan wasn't
crazy.
good.
The cartoon was a hit, making $87
wanna be a kid all your life.
on a $4 million
I don't even like
budget.
kids,
But
man. Fuck
Disney's
them.
cheerful movie doesn't match the original character. The real story was written by J.M. Barrie in 1904. That's over 100 years ago. Barrie was obsessed